And so we see the real issue is no longer science or the facts. Evolution has lost that battle years ago. Very few, I'm talking about percentage, not numbers, of expert scientists, those that are considered to be a specialist in their field, seem to believe in classical Darwinism. There are just too many serious problems with the theory. That does not mean that many of the teachers, university professors, and students do not believe it. It seems that they have never received the basic information that has disproved the theory decades ago. They typically still believe that mutations can be the vehicle for evolution, that the fossil record supports the theory, and that life could have begun accidentally, etc., etc. But once you get past students, teachers, and professors, you find something quite different: doubt, and lots of it. It is these experts in their field that we obtain the quotes that show the impossibility of the theory. And yes, they are evolutionists, or former evolutionists now. One of the most difficult things for me to accept was the fact that truth is not always the most important aspect in a debate. When I was growing up, there was a saying that was very popular in the counterculture for that day: the end justifies the means. Well, we see this attitude especially true in the debate about evolution. Have you ever been in an argument where the debate gets so hot that logic, quote, flies out the window? I have seen situations where well-known evolutionists defend an idea that has been proven to be fraudulent. In fact, she said that the idea was good, that there was absolutely no scientific validity, but it was still good. This was in regards to Haeckel's embryos, which was proven to be a fraud 150 years ago, but, by the way, is still in the textbooks across our nation. Now, I'm not saying that creationists do not say illogical things too. The point is, when you begin discussing the subject of evolution, things can get very hot. After all, this is the most hotly contested debated subject in the country. Now, since I began researching the various so-called proofs of evolution, I have not found one that has not been disproven, discovered to be a fraud, or is just plain old junk science, which means no scientific method has been involved. That simply means that the theory of evolution is what? A religion. And because it directly contradicts science in so many ways, the amount of faith that is needed is absolutely enormous to believe this theory. But you may ask the question, isn't creationism a religion also? Well, that is true. But the basic requirements for creationism are backed up by science, where evolution just simply contradicts them. For instance, a worldwide flood is not possible if you believe in evolution. That would mean that all of the evolution that had happened on land had been wiped out. But there is overwhelming evidence that, scientifically speaking, there was a worldwide flood. For example, marine fossils by the millions have been found in the highest mountain ranges of the world. Or let's look at another one: the admission, even by the most ardent supporters of evolution, that there are definite signs of design in all forms of life. Or that the most of the layers of the earth are formed by water, which is sedimentary rock, which supports the idea of a worldwide flood. Or the fossil evidence that creatures were much larger and more powerful in the past than they are today, which means they would have at least had a tendency to devolve instead of evolve. Every kind of creature is unique, with absolutely no sign of evolution taking place between the various kinds of creatures. I know this is not what we have been told. And so the list goes on and on and on. It seems that the scientific discoveries are constantly being made that support creationism, a worldwide flood, or the concept of intelligent design. So we now get back to the original question. Why is the theory of evolution pushed so hard if there is no good science behind it? For the very same reason that it was started in the first place, to support an atheistic philosophy or religion. Now, Darwin accepted the idea of evolution because of his concept of God. He just simply rejected his early training. He felt that a loving God would not allow some of the things to happen that occurred on earth and even in his own life. He did not wish to be accountable to a creator, God, or a moral being. And so the theory was accepted as a religion, and by the way, that's Darwin's own admission, by others that did not desire to be accountable to any kind of creator or God. The ideas, that is, of evolution, have become the very foundation for the most dangerous forms of government ever known to mankind. Those include socialism, communism, Marxism, Nazism, and etc. These forms of government have been the most destructive forms of government to human rights and human lives that has ever been known in human history. Over 100 million lives have been destroyed by these kinds of regimes. And I'm not talking about wars. I'm talking about them killing their own people. And if you include abortions, you can double that. Evolution is the very foundational philosophy for every one of these types of government. And again, if you want to see more of that, look up the Communist Manifesto on the from past issues, and also the Socialist Manifestos and so on. But why is this theory of evolution so important? Because if we believe in evolution, then humans are really no better than animals, and can be sacrificed as such if they are in the way of so-called progress. Nazism even went as far as saying that the Jews and blacks are too close to the apes. In order to purify their race, these animals must be gotten rid of. In fact, Hitler was very concerned because it was a black, Jesse Owens, who was beating all of his people at the Olympics. And he considered it not fair that he would have to run, his people would have to run against animals. The theory of evolution has been pushed stronger than anything else in our nation's schools and even the media. That is despite all of the contradictions with scientific evidence. It has been the philosophical and even religious foundation for the socialistic system that is being pushed on our nation, and again, especially in our schools. Politics and philosophy have often trumped science throughout history. Evolution has been the primary philosophy that has been pushed in our schools and universities in order to give our students the needed foundation for a socialistic government. And that seems to be the reason that the theory of evolution has been pushed harder in our nation than any other idea in history, and why some people really do think that we must believe in evolution. For more information, go to evilsecrets.com.